What up, players? It's Warboss Tay up in this mug. Today we're taking a look at the Mistress of Flesh, Khessida. I booted this up. The link is right below in the description, so if you want to take a look at this miniature, then just click on that link. It's going to take you to the Artel W Miniatures website. Artel uses high-quality resin to make these beautiful alternative sculpts for a lot of different armies in the Warhammer 40k game. So if you want something different, if you're not really happy with the Haemonculus that Games Workshop is offering, or if you just can't even get it because it's not available online, then check this out. If you want a Haemonculus in your army, this one is a beautiful one to have. Guaranteed, I don't think anyone is going to have it in your area. And you can get it now for $17.99. You might have noticed that there's no sale price. That's because the fall sale is over. So you are going to be paying the full price of $17.99 still. That is like half of what you would normally pay for a clamshell figure at like a local game store. They usually run like $35, $40. So you could buy two of these and build them up in both of her configurations for the same amount of money. And that's not even counting like if you were to have purchased this during the sale. So we're going to take a look at this model, the different configurations you could build her up in, and I'm going to give you my thoughts. This is a very nice looking character model, and there are two ways you could build her up. You can either give her gas canisters stuck on her back, kind of like fanning out on either side of her, or like her drug canisters, or you can build her up with these different appendages and a centipede tail. So this is the first configuration I'm talking about. The heads are interchangeable, so you can either have this weird creepy looking mask or have her head exposed but her eyes covered with a veil. Those are those gas canisters I was talking about on the side of her body. It really draws your eye because she doesn't have these extra appendages like flailing about. It draws your eye to her legs, the long exposed legs and the lines of her legs, as well as to her face. If you're going to put the mask on, then you can paint it up all creepy and corroded. But honestly, I would much rather see this on the field because you've got those disgusting looking insect-like appendages, like cockroach legs. Oh, it's so creepy. And then she's got the grabber arms. The Haemonculus aesthetic, too, is a mixture of the mechanical or the iron as well as flesh, all just crafted together. It looks just so strange and weird and more interesting, I think. And then you've got this centipede tail that is kind of balancing her up and coiling around her. So I always would go for the centipede tail. I think it's just a beautiful looking addition to it, but you're going to be seeing in these pictures that flip back and forth. They've got this configuration with the canisters kind of jetting out at either side of her to frame her silhouette, and then the other ones with the appendages and the centipede tail. So the first one we're looking at right here, the eye, like I said, is drawn to her legs, and you can see her exposed leg going up into her torso. Her armor is plated in that very recognizable and iconic Drukhari spiky plates layered on top of each other. Then you've got the soft flowing like a cloth that's just drifting down behind her. The Dark Eldar Drukhari aesthetic is really, really something. You've got the opposing aesthetics of the sharp, deadly, dangerous-looking spiky armor plates carried down from her torso armor down to her boots and her gauntlets. They've got that plated look with all the spikes and all the hard edges, and you contrast that with the softness of the skin, as well as any cloth that's draped down and hanging down off their bodies. It's a beautiful mixture, and like the composition of these models is just insane to me. As a designer, the creativity of balancing out like these high boots, these knee-high boots with all the spiked plates, and then the softness of the leg. Like your eye is obviously drawn like to her legs and to her face as a focal point, and you balance the softness of that with the plated armor, and it's really something. So, like I said, this is my more favorite and preferred configuration. You've got hands on either side. The left is holding a syringe, the right is open, and it's got that little gauntlet towards it. On top of it. And I think you can paint, if you look at the upper part of that arm, that looks like a fleshy arm. So you're painting these extra appendages in the same color you would be painting her skin tone. And then with the insect-like appendages at the top and the mechanical grabber arm on the left, it's it's just this horrifying combination of like soft, beautiful skin and hard metal for the armor, and then like rusted iron for all of the surgical bits. You can really get a lot done. And that's why I said you can order 2 of these and have completely different looking miniatures. The one with the gas canister has a totally different silhouette than this one does, with the centipede tail and all of the appendages flying everywhere. The 2 cockroach legs up at the top actually remind me of the lictor for the Tyranids, whereas where the limbs are kind of jointed with these weird looking elbows, and they branch up at these 90-degree angles, and then they jut out with the spiky, stabby bits. It really looks like an insect. Oh man. And I think if you paint, don't go with the insect color scheme of like blacks and non-human. Like, make the flesh of the insect parts, arms, look like the skin of her face, and like the skin of her body, to really just make it very creepy looking. Now, if you take a look at the side shot here, you can see that the mask option for the head also has the pointy ears of an elf, or like a Drukhari, and then the short hair. So it makes you want to paint that like in a nice soft skin tone, so that you become curious, like, what does her face look like under that mask? And here you could see that she's got that veil over her face. So I love this mystery of you can paint her hair to look really nice, paint the skin around the veil, and then it makes you wonder, like, what do her eyes and the top part of her head look like? If they're as beautiful as the rest of her skin, or if they're like some horrible, like disfigured, mutated, or just surgically altered just mess of flesh and bone. And I think that's what's interesting about these Haemonculus, like that they experiment on themselves and on their little subjects to create what they think is the most beautiful and perfect looking result. So I mean, it's like a horror movie looking at these miniatures. And as a collector, more than a player, I'm not sure if I would run a Flesh Coven if I were to collect the Drukhari. I'm already painting the Arena Gore Festival bundle, which is a bunch of witches and special witch characters, which focus more on the athleticism and the acrobatics of the witches. But getting into these flesh husks and the grotesques, or the flesh golems, and these Haemonculus figures is just as fun. And it's a great way to balance out your collection of Dark Eldar miniatures. Like I said, I really don't think anybody in your area will have had these Artel W figures. Artel is such a boutique and specialist company that even if a couple of your local players would have heard what they are and taken interest in some of their miniatures, I don't think any Dark Eldar players or Drukhari players in your area will have these exact models. And even if they do, they could have built them completely differently. When you look at what the silhouette is between this one with all of the appendages and the other one with the gas canisters, there's just so much you can do. Now, compare and contrast that to this. This is Games Workshop's Haemonculus figure. It's the only one they offer. When they did the Finecast experiment, they had a Finecast Haemonculus that came and went like a bad memory, and you can't even find that one anymore. But this is the new plastic Haemonculus. He's got the weird little appendage holding him up, his feet dangling. He's offered for $29, but look at that, it's not even available online. So if it was available, you would be saving a couple of bucks by ordering one of these. But just imagine if you paid $34 or $35, $36 and gotten 2 of these Mistress of Flesh Khessida figures. You would have spent a little bit more money, but you would have had a second model, and you could build them completely different looking. If you want to get Khessida with the other Haemonculus you see in the upper right there, it's the last figure I'm going to be talking about. You can get it also with these flesh husks, the flesh golems, and this Urian Rakarth figure on the throne in the front. The Voidborn Masters and Puppets bundle is back up to $180. The sale is over for the fall, so you're not going to be saving that 15% anymore. But if you do want this figure, you find other things you like, you pay over $300, you'll get a 20% discount applied automatically at checkout. Not only that, but if you do order over $250 worth of products, then you'll be getting free shipping worldwide, which is a terrific savings because shipping in itself is such a huge investment when you purchase from international companies like this. But just to end this video, I am an affiliate of Artel W Miniatures, so I will be earning a small commission if you do decide to use the link to purchase some items, and I thank you for that, for supporting the studio. I love this company so much. I love talking about their miniatures. I can't wait to get them so I can build them up for you guys, show you what they actually look like. It's all great to see the computer renders and the 3D renders of everything, but there's something about holding these miniatures in your hand, and I can tell you from experience that when you get this box and you open it up and you take the baggies out and you take out the resin pieces and you actually feel them and you see the quality for yourself. This was my experience with the Arena Gore Festival bundle that I'm working on right now. When you see how high quality these pieces are, like they are in resin, so you're going to need to be a little bit more careful than you would with the plastic Games Workshop uses, but putting them together is like putting together a piece of artwork. And then when you actually spray the primer on it and you get to painting them, there's just this feeling of painting resin, like specialist boutique one-of-a-kind miniatures like this that can't be replicated. I highly recommend it. So go out and take a look at these miniatures. Check out the Artel W website. I think you'll be very glad that you did. And thanks for watching this video. We'll see you in the next one.